all pre-recorded for you, but your answers are going to be going out onto NASA TV.
Okay, great. Yeah, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston, this is Station. We are ready.
Houston ACR, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call Station for a voice check.
Station, this is Houston ACR. How do you hear me?
Houston ACR, we have you loud and clear.
Please stand by for opening remarks.
Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Jonathan Woodson, President of the Uniformed Services University of the Health Sciences, the Leadership Academy for the Military Health System. We're all very excited to be here, and we thank you for this great opportunity and for all of your contributions to the advancement of science and humanity. Here's our first question.
Hi, my name is Ron Riddle, and I'm the Executive Assistant to the Chief of Staff. My question is, what are the chances of spacecraft being damaged by random space trash?
Space debris is a real concern in low Earth orbit. The Department of Defense has a global surveillance system that tracks all of the debris in space. And what we do is we build an imaginary box around the ISS, which we call a pizza box. And we predict where the orbital debris will be. And if it's going to come too close to that pizza box, then we can actually move the space station and change its orbit to avoid the space debris.
Hi, my name is Major Simon Talwin, a molecular and cell biology graduate student at USU. And my question is, what's been an unexpected challenge that you've faced during your time as an astronaut?
Hey, Major Talon, that's a really great question. You know, we do have a lot of challenges. I think one of the most unexpected ones for me was just how academically rigorous the training for the astronaut program is. A lot like medical school, there's no particular subject that's extremely hard, but it's really more about the breadth of knowledge and how much knowledge you have to hold kind of ready at any one time. And that's really the challenge. You know, we have to learn spacecraft systems, space station systems. We have to learn robotics. We have to go through Russian training because we work with Russian cosmonauts. And all of those things, plus other things that you train on almost every day, you just have to have readily available in the front of your mind. And that proves to be a challenge. But we have some excellent trainers, and they do a great job of getting us there.
Hi, my name is Alex Graninger, and I'm a second-year graduate student in the Neuroscience graduate program at USU. And my question is, what aspect of life in space has taken the longest to adjust to?
The thing in space that takes the longest to adjust to is microgravity, and I think I'm still adjusting to it every day. For example, you let something go, you think it's going to stay there, and it will for a second until you touch it, and then it will fly away. So if you have a bag of tools like I have here, and you open them up to get something out, then before you know it, you have everything that's kind of flying away, and it's hard to keep track. So we have Velcro on our pants that we can hold items down. We have tethers that we use, duct tape that we use to keep things on surfaces. That way you don't lose all of your tools and sometimes your dinner too.
Hi, my name is Patricia Mitchell. I'm a project manager with the Business Process Improvement Group under CIO Tim Rapp. My question is, how does NASA mitigate the amount of radiation that astronauts are exposed to?
Yeah, radiation is actually one of the highest risks that we face as humans here in space. Fortunately for us, currently on the space station is within the Van Allen radiation belt, so we get most of our protection from the Earth's electromagnetic field. However, as we prepare to go to the moon, and the further we go out into space, the more we're exposed to that radiation. Ideally, we would have barriers such as lead plates or iron plates or even water. The problem is all those things are really heavy, and so it's very difficult to launch them from Earth. But NASA's working those problems just like every problem that we work. And currently, as Orion heads to the moon, we actually have 2 mannequins on there that are testing the effects of radiation. One of those mannequins is wearing a vest that will hopefully protect it from that radiation. And when they come back, we'll compare the results and see how that's working.
Hi, my name is Melissa Thompson, and I'm an administrative officer at USU. My question is, what upcoming research on the space station are you personally excited about engaging in?
We have over 200 experiments that we're currently conducting on board the International Space Station. A couple of the new ones that came up recently on a Cygnus cargo vehicle just a couple weeks ago are the first satellites from Zimbabwe and Uganda. And this is really exciting because they're built by students and as part of a program to help developing countries get hands-on experience with satellites and hopefully lead to a sustainable space program. Later this week, coming up on SpaceX 26, another cargo spacecraft, we're going to have an experiment which grows dwarf tomatoes. This is going to be really cool because we're looking at different types of light and different fertilizers that we can use to grow the tomatoes. This is going to help us when we have sustained presence on the lunar surface and also in our journey to Mars. And the really cool thing is that Frank and I will get a chance to actually taste these tomatoes in space.
Hi. My name is Joseph Costello. I'm a research associate at Uniformed Services University.
Stand by as we get the question repeated. The question is, as astronauts, have you experienced and or studied the overview effect?
So we certainly talk about the overview effect prior to launch. I think quite a bit. Everybody's really excited for that first glimpse at the planet Earth. And I think it's very personal and individual for each person. You know, for me, looking out of the cupola window or even right after launch looking out the Dragon window at planet Earth, it's just amazing to me how vast the planet is, how much water there is on board, the amazing lightning storms that you can see at night and the city lights and the incredible landscapes. And then as you move your eye along the planet and get to the limb of the Earth and see out into outer space, during the day especially you see the blackest of black that I've ever seen. And that's that contrast between planet Earth and the blackness of space that, for me, really drives home the points of how fragile our planet is in this solar system and how unique it is and how it's so important it is that we come together as a human race to take care of our planet.
Hi, my name is Hadia Brendel, and I'm a writer at USU. My question is, how is simulation training different from the actual experience?
Well, like I said before, we have some amazing and excellent training teams at NASA, and it's incredible how well they get us prepared for this unique experience. When we first docked on my Soyuz, when we first docked to station, I had a view of the port side of station from my window, and I remember thinking, wow, this looks just like Doug, but it's real. And Doug is a program that we use to study the outside of space station as we prepare for spacewalks. Once we were able to enter the space station, I also remember thinking, oh, wow, this looks just like Building 9, where we have our space vehicle mock-up facility. And we have a live mock-up of the space station where we train very regularly on working on the inside of the space station. And so those two things were just incredible how lifelike they were. Just the other day, we did our first spacewalk, and as I was transitioning through the outside of the station, I also remember and recall just how very much it looked like the NBL, or the Neutral Buoyancy Lab, which is our 3 million gallon pool that we use to train for spacewalks. So I think overall, the facilities that we have at NASA and the trainers that we have really get us ready for this mission incredibly well.
Hi, my name is Rudy Bubney, and my question is, what were the easiest and hardest parts of your training to become an astronaut?
Hey, Rudy, that's a great question. You know, we train on a lot of things. One of the things that we focus on is called expeditionary skills, which really is a fancy word for just saying how to be a good team member. And that, to me, was the easiest part, mostly because of the people that I work with. You know, when you work with some of the best in the entire world, it just makes it really easy to get along and be part of their team. So that, for me, was a super easy part. We also train in Russian language, and that for me was a really difficult part. Russian is a beautiful language, but it's incredibly hard to learn. And so I've really enjoyed learning it, but it was a great challenge. Another thing that was a really hard physical challenge was actually that spacewalk training that I talked about earlier. When you're in that pool and you're moving around a 300-pound suit in that water and that water resistance, and you're in there for 6 to 7 hours, it really wears you out. But at the end of it, you feel really good that you accomplished something, and it's awesome training.
Hi, my name's Augie Bubney. My question is, if you grow plants in space, how do you water them?
We are really looking forward to taking care of our plants in space. And so when the tomatoes come up, there's a couple different ways that we can water plants. Sometimes we use a little pillow, and astronauts will come and inject water into that pillow, and that will provide and keep the water there for the roots of the system. Sometimes we have systems that have automated watering, and it'll be the astronaut's job to then refill the watering tanks, but we'll let the automation take care of feeding the plants. But either way, we have to take careful attention to make sure the plants get the appropriate amount of water so that they grow.
Hi, my name is Second Lieutenant Brent Bubney. I am a second-year medical student at USU. My question is, once you return to Earth, what will the first few months look like in terms of reintegration?
When we return to Earth, our bodies go through a lot of changes while we were in space. Some of those are very similar to when people get old on Earth. So you'll have a bone density loss. You may have muscle atrophy. You may have immune dysfunctions. Now, fortunately, these return pretty rapidly on Earth, but it's through a rigorous rehabilitation program. Specifically, the first 45 days, we have rehab on Earth to help get our balance back, grow our muscles, and to make sure that we keep our bones strong.
Hi, my name is Jasper, and my mom's name is Mindy Lynn, and she works at the Department of Surgery at Uniform Service University. And my question is, what tools do you use on a spacewalk? Thank you.
Yeah, you know, so a few of the things that we let out of the bag earlier are some of our spacewalking tools. This is called a PGT, and it's probably the fanciest and most expensive drill you'll ever see. But it's actually more than a drill. It can tell us the torque, the number of turns. We can use it as a wrench out there. And it's really an incredibly built machine that we can use to drive or remove any bolt out there during our spacewalks. Like Nicole was saying, unfortunately, everything tends to try to fly away from you. So we use a lot of RETs, and these will be connected to your body, or your spacesuit, really, and then you'll connect it to whatever object you're going to let loose, and that keeps it from flying away and lets you keep working on it. So these are just a couple of the many, hundreds of tools that we use on spacewalks. But again, one of the most incredible teams that we have back on the ground that supports us is the EVA team, and they put a very exacting list of what tools we're going to need on that specific spacewalk. And for us, it's just a matter of making sure we have them all and going out there and getting the plan that they put together done out there in space.
Hi, my name is Captain Stephanie Robb, and I'm a second-year clinical psychology graduate student at the Uniformed Services University. My question is, what do you imagine the most difficult psychological challenges will be for space travel beyond cislunar space or for the long-term habitation on the Moon or Mars?
I think one of the most difficult psychological challenges will be living with a group of people in a confined environment. And so Frank talked a little bit about expeditionary behavior or working together on a team. You have to realize that you're no longer an individual. You're a part of the team, and the mission that you need to get accomplished is paramount. At the same time, you have to remember to take care of yourself. So you need to have good teamwork, but also good self-care. You need to make sure you're well rested, you're hydrated, you have good nutrition. And if you need some time to unwind or take care of yourself mentally, that's important so that you can be a good functioning team member and remain efficient in order to succeed and be successful on the mission.
The question is, in what ways can military physicians assist NASA's mission, either in support role or as an astronaut?
Well, as a graduate of UShoes, I feel very proud of the fact that we do, in fact, learn to care for those in harm's way. We often think of that as a military or combat environment, but really there's really no more austere of an environment than space. And so space medicine is an up-and-coming field of study, and I think it's going to make leaps and bounds as far as, as humanity moves towards a space-traveling race. I think it's gonna be a challenge for physicians to be ready to care for those that are out here. As far as preparing for to be an astronaut, I think as long as we have humans in space, you're going to need physicians. And the reality is we are the most difficult and challenging part of space exploration because of the effects that this environment has on our bodies. And so I think it's going to be a great challenge for all physicians, not just military physicians, to learn to care for each other as we transition further and further away from the Earth.
Hi, my name is Sergeant Isaiah Gray, and I'm a USU Enlisted to Medical Degree Preparatory Program student. My question is, what are some things that military officers, particularly physicians, can do during their careers to make themselves competitive for the astronaut selection program?
Hey, Sergeant Gray. Well, first of all, congratulations on being accepted to that very challenging and competitive program. That's awesome. I think the same thing that we tell everybody from kids to adults on how to become an astronaut applies to physicians and military officers the same. It's find something that you love and be the absolute best that you can thing. There's really, the reality is there's lots of different ways to become an astronaut. Nicole is a military Marine Corps test pilot. I'm a military physician, but we have civilian physicians that are also astronauts, and we have civilian pilots that are international astronauts. And so there's many paths. But when you have a passion and when you devote yourself to being the best that you can at that passion, I think that's when you're most likely to shine in a group. So that would be my advice for that.
Hi, I'm Ensign Brunner from the Family Medicine Interest Group at USU. On behalf of the entire university, the Washington Episcopal School, and the Washington School for Girls, thank you for sharing your expertise and joining us live from space. Best wishes from all of us for a successful mission.
Thank you so much, and the International Space Station.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event.
Thank you to all participants. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications.
Copy, Joe. Thank you.
Station up 2 for the AQN power cycle. Joe,